Have you ever looked at your relationships and thought, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep meeting women who lie, manipulate, drain me, and make me feel like I'm never enough, no matter how hard I try? It's like you are stuck in a loop. You promise yourself never again. Then somehow you meet someone new, and for a while she feels different. She seems sweet, calm, and supportive, until you realize she was just a new mask on the same monster. Let me tell you something that will set you free. You are not cursed. You are conditioned. You were trained to mistake chaos for connection and control for care. And until you rewire that conditioning, you'll keep attracting the same type of woman, the one who looks like peace but ends up becoming your storm. So in this episode, I'm breaking down the psychology of why men attract female narcissists, the hidden patterns behind it, and exactly what you can do to stop it for good. I'm also going to share stories from real men just like you who broke free from these toxic cycles and rebuilt their peace, their purpose, and their power. Because, brother, this isn't about blaming her anymore. It's about understanding you deeply so you never lose yourself again.
Welcome to the Narc Free Man Podcast.
Welcome back to the Narc Free Man Podcast. I'm Phillip Dugas. Let's start with a hard truth. Narcissistic women don't target weak men. They target good men, empathetic men, loyal men, men with heart, honor, and potential. They see your empathy as an opportunity. They see your kindness as a weakness. And they know exactly how to make you drop your guard. Let me give you an example. One of my coaching clients, I'll call him Mike, told me, Phil, she came into my life like an angel. She said all the right things. She made me feel like the man I always wanted to be. And that's what narcissistic women do. They don't come in waving red flags. They come in mirroring your values. She studies you, mirrors you, adapts to you. Mike said she told me I was her rock. She said she'd never met a man like me. But a few months later, that same woman was calling him cold, unloving, and emotionally unavailable. See the switch? That's the hook. She mirrored his needs so she could manipulate them. And here's the psychological reason. A narcissistic woman feeds off admiration, attention, and control. When you are stable, calm, and strong, she feels irrelevant. So she stirs chaos to reestablish dominance. The more empathy you give, the more fuel she gets. And it's not that you attract narcissists because you are broken. You attract them because you haven't learned to guard your empathy with boundaries and standards that you set for yourself. Every man I've coached who has fallen for a narcissist shares this root issue. He learned love through performance. Maybe your mom was emotionally unpredictable. Maybe your dad was physically present but emotionally gone. Maybe you had to become the good son, the peacekeeper, the problem solver. You learned early that if you behaved, helped, or achieved, you'd get love. If you set boundaries, got angry, or said no, love would disappear. So you grew up believing love must be earned, not received. And that's exactly the kind of man a female narcissist looks for, because she doesn't love people, she recruits them. Let me share another story. There was a man named Adam, and every time his girlfriend started an argument, he apologized, even when she was wrong. She'd say, if you really loved me, you'd listen. And every time he tried to stand up for himself, she'd cry or accuse him of being heartless. Now, Adam wasn't weak. He was conditioned to believe that love meant self-abandonment. And until he broke that conditioning, he kept confusing manipulation with love. Here's the reality. You didn't attract her because you are broken. You attracted her because your nervous system was looking for what felt familiar. And familiar doesn't always mean safe. Sometimes it means trauma dressed as love. Now let's get scientific here for a minute. A trauma bond is not emotional. It's chemical. When you are with a narcissist, your body gets hooked on highs and lows. During love bombing, you get dopamine, the reward chemical. During devaluation, you get cortisol and adrenaline, the stress chemicals. Then, during makeup moments, dopamine floods back in again. Your body literally becomes addicted to the cycle. That's why after you leave her, you still crave her. You miss the drama, the arguments, the intensity, even the pain, because that's what your nervous system associates with connection. And here's the part most men never realize. You can't logic your way out of a trauma bond. You can't decide to stop missing her. You have to retrain your body to crave peace more than chaos. That's why I tell every client, healing isn't just emotional, it's physical. You have to create new routines that calm your nervous system, rebuild structure, and make peace your new normal. Because if you don't rewire your nervous system for peace, you'll keep confusing adrenaline for attraction. Now let's talk about the hero trap. If you have ever said, I just wanted to help her heal, or she's been through a lot, I thought I could save her, that's your inner hero talking. It's noble, but it's also dangerous. You see, narcissistic women are masters at sensing rescuers. They know how to play the damsel in distress. They'll share trauma stories early, make you feel special for understanding them, and make you think you are the only one who can fix them. But here's the truth. She doesn't want to be healed. She wants to be worshipped. And the more you stop saving her, she'll turn on you, because your value was never in who you were. It was in what you gave. Hey guys, quick interruption to the show. I want to say something directly to the man listening right now. If you keep trying to do this alone, you are going to stay stuck in the same loop. The same arguments, the same anxiety, the same emotional exhaustion that's been draining you for months or even years. You don't need more YouTube videos. You don't need more hope. You need strategy, clarity, and someone who has walked hundreds of men out of the exact same darkness you are in. That's why I offer one-on-one coaching, private, personalized, tactical support designed for men dealing with a female narcissist, trauma bonds, co-parenting chaos, and the emotional fallout of leaving a toxic relationship. I'll help you build a clear exit plan, regain your strength, stop reacting to her, and become the 2.0 version of yourself she can never manipulate again. So if you are done surviving and you are ready to rebuild, go to phillipcdugas.com or click the link in the description below to apply. Another one of my clients, Jordan, said, I kept trying to show her that not every man would hurt her. And I told him that's the mistake. You are trying to prove your innocence to someone who profits off your guilt. Brother, you can't heal a woman who uses her pain as a weapon, and you can't save someone who enjoys drowning. You save yourself by walking away. If we strip everything else away, this is the core truth. You attract what you believe you deserve. If deep down you don't feel worthy of peace, you'll tolerate chaos. If you don't feel valuable, you'll settle for being useful. If you fear loneliness, you'll accept mistreatment just to avoid being alone. Narcissistic women can sense low self-worth from a mile away. They test it early. She'll say something small like, "Oh, you are not like my ex. He was way more confident. Or, I love when you do what I ask. You are so understanding. It sounds harmless, but she's testing your response. Will you laugh it off? Will you defend yourself? Will you start performing? That's her playbook. She creates the wound, then positions herself as the cure. The moment you start defending your worth, you have already lost ground. You don't explain your boundaries, you enforce them. You don't demand respect, you embody it. Your empathy is your gift, but in the hands of a narcissist, it becomes your weakness. When you forgive too quickly, she learns she can do it again. When you over-explain, she learns she can confuse you again. When you give chances without consequences, she learns she can drain you again. One of my clients told me something powerful. He said, "Phil, I realized I was giving loyalty to a woman who saw it as leverage." That's exactly how narcissistic women operate. They interpret empathy as permission. That's why I teach every man this rule. Empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. You can be kind, you can be patient, but you must also be clear, calm, and unavailable to manipulation. Now, you don't have to stop being kind. You just have to stop being accessible to people who abuse your kindness. Now, let's shift from awareness to action, because knowing why isn't enough. You have to reprogram how. Here's the framework I give to men in my coaching program. Number one is to stop chasing potential. Chemistry isn't compatibility. Stop following for potential and start observing consistency. Number two is to practice emotional detachment. When she love bombs you, slow down. Time reveals everything. Narcissists rush intimacy to control it. Number three is heal your inner boy. That version of you that still believes love must be earned. Give him safety through self-discipline, not self-sacrifice. Number four is to build solitude into your schedule. Peace feels uncomfortable at first because you are used to noise. Sit with it anyway. That's where self-trust grows. Number five is to build habits that create calm. For example, wake up early, move your body, journal, set goals. Structure is how you rewire chaos. You stop attracting narcissists when you start embodying leadership, not just externally, but internally, because peace doesn't chase. Peace attracts. You'll know you are healing when silence feels better than proving your point. When your peace matters more than being misunderstood. When you no longer chase explanations, just results. You'll know you are healing when you stop replaying old arguments. Not because you forgot, but because you have outgrown them. When you can look at her photo or even bump into her in public and feel nothing but neutrality, that's freedom. Healing doesn't mean you don't remember. It means it no longer controls your reaction. Let's end with this. Write this down. I no longer chase what drains me. I attract what matches my peace. That's your new code. You are not the man who stayed. You are the man who learned. You are not the man who lost control. You are the man rebuilding it. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to stop negotiating with dysfunction. And remember, leadership isn't control. Leadership is calm under pressure. It's direction without dominance. It's knowing who you are even when the world tries to rewrite it. That's masculinity. That's your comeback. So, brother, if this message spoke to you, if you are done repeating cycles, done attracting chaos, and ready to rebuild peace, clarity, and masculine strength, then do this right now. Subscribe to the Narc Free Man podcast on YouTube. Every week, I teach men just like you how to break trauma bonds, rebuild their identity, and reclaim the peace they were taught to sacrifice. Because you don't need her to change, you need to evolve. So until next time, stay calm, stay steady, and stay narc free.